So I have this semi-thought in mind that when I come into a space and there's plants, whether it's in a bodega or in someone's house, I like to think that they know that I'm coming in sort of being the Oprah of plants, and they're like, oh, thank God, someone's here to finally save us, because I've been drowning. So when I come into someone's space, I come in and I go one plant at a time. I'm feeling the soil, I'm checking out the pH, I'm looking at the leaves, and it's my way of sort of building a connection with the plant to assess what it needs. Hi, my name is Maryah Greene, and I'm known as the plant doctor and stylist. So I went to college in Washington, D.C., and I went there for political science. I went to the George Washington University, and I quickly discovered that politics was not what I was cut out for. So I started volunteering at this nonprofit called Kid Power. And so I discovered that teaching was actually my calling and something I felt passionate about. And so once I made that decision, I knew that I had to go to grad school in order to be the best teacher I could be. So I moved to New York City, went to the Bank Street College, and I ended up working in 3rd and 5th grade. When I moved into my first apartment, I was like, oh, I'm gonna make this place nice. I'm gonna make it like my dream home. And I invested in plants. I got some really nice pots. I went to the local nursery. But what I didn't realize was those plants actually require a certain level or amount of care that I didn't have time for. And so they didn't make it. And so after taking the time to like understand what the plants needed, I realized that it was actually quite simple, and I wanted everyone else to feel that way. There was this notion going around at the time of like, you have to have a green thumb in order to like keep plants alive. But I just sort of felt like, I think that's meant to just make us feel bad about not keeping things alive. I think you just need to know which plants you need to have. So Greene Piece was the name that I came up with as my Instagram account. I knew I wanted like a play on words with my last name, because green and plants. But what I didn't know was that I would be formally like starting a business with that name. And so Greene Piece is my plant design service where I come directly to your home. I tell you what plants work for your space. If you currently have plants, I tell you what your plants need, whether it's a bigger pot or more or less sunlight. All around, it's just an educational service for me to help you discover what your plants need.
Hi, welcome to Greenery Unlimited.
I'm good, how are you doing?
Good.
I have this massive project coming up.
Okay.
They need like a really nice tree, but they have a ton of light. So if you could find me something with height, and then we want to play with color. So it's one part design services to help you pick what plants you might want, and then the other part is plant doctoring. We can make your life easier if your plants aren't doing so well. So Good Things is a story of a young boy named Malcolm who cares for houseplants with his father, Pops. And one day, Malcolm's father passes away. So Malcolm's not only forced to go through the grieving process for the first time after he loses his father, but he's also faced with the responsibility of keeping his plants alive. And so the story aims to paint a picture of what grief can look like for specifically Black and brown boys, and also support them if they're going through grief for the first time. I realized the reason that plants were the best metaphor to talk about this story of loss and mourning is because the one community that has no issue talking about things dying was the plant community. My main goal with this story was to make sure that it wasn't marketed as this book about loss, because it's not. It's actually a book about life and what it means to overcome loss over time. I found that plants are the medium through which I'm teaching now. I often hear like, oh, do you miss teaching or do you miss education? But I feel like I'm still teaching. The medium that I'm teaching through is houseplants and now this book. And so even though I'm not reporting to a classroom every day, I feel very privileged to still be able to teach and not have to physically go somewhere every day. I do miss the kids, but I'm finding that the joy that I'm leaving in a lot of people's lives when I come and help them with their plants is like unparalleled.